we will go over to the press conference of Honorable Raksha Mantri, Shri Rajnath Singh Ji.
Indian Ocean region. It is a region which is important not only for the nations that abide within it, but also has a place of maritime prominence for the world at large. We thank the Honorable Raksha Mantri, Shri Rajnath Singh, for gracing the seminar. We are also grateful to the Defence Minister of Maldives, Her Excellency Maria Didi, and the Deputy Minister from Iran, Brigadier General Fahd, for their presence today. The physical and virtual presence of many IOR nations and their maritime forces in the seminar bears testimony to the importance placed on matters maritime. We also acknowledge the presence of General Rawat, Chief of Defence Staff India, Commodore Hassan, Commodore Naval Aviation Bangladesh Navy, Admiral Aurangzeb Chaudhry, former Chief of Naval Staff Bangladesh Navy, who is also a panelist today, Indonesian Navy Headquarters, Captain Kumba, Chief of Operations Kenya Navy, Admiral Sani, Chief of Royal Malaysian Navy, General Shamal, CDF Maldives National Defence Force, who is also a panelist today, Mr. Sarwang Singh, Commissioner of Police, Mauritius Police Force, Admiral On, Commander-in-Chief Myanmar Navy, Colonel Rosette, CDF Seychelles People's Defence Force, Rear Admiral Fore, Deputy Chief South Africa Navy, Admiral Kolambage, Foreign Secretary Sri Lanka, Admiral Vijay Gunaratne, former Chief of Defence Staff Sri Lanka, who is also a panelist today, Vice Admiral Ulugetene, Commander of the Sri Lanka Navy, Rear Admiral Gamage, Commander Southeastern Naval Area Sri Lanka, Commodore Hamisi, Deputy Commander Tanzania Navy, Rear Admiral Wangnakon Swarang, Vice Chairman of the Naval Enlisted Men Vocational Development Committee, Thailand. The list is indeed long and it represents the wider part of the Indian Ocean region. In addition, we also acknowledge ambassadors and high commissioners from friendly nations, resident defense and naval attaches, international delegates, and members of the media. We also acknowledge and thank the moderators and panelists from France, Dr. Gerard, Singapore, Jane Chan, South Africa, Timothy Walker, and from India, panelists Rear Admiral Sanjay Jay Singh and Sudhir Pillai, panelist Vice Admiral Pradeep Chauhan, Vice Rear Admiral V.K. Saxena, and Sri Raghavan for their time to make this seminar a success. I now request Admiral Karambir Singh, Chief of the Naval Staff, Indian Navy, to deliver his welcome address.
Shri Rajnath Singh, Honorable Defence Minister of India, Honorable Defence Minister of Maldives, Mrs. Maria Didi, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. At the outset, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the Honorable Raksha Mantri and the Defence Minister of Maldives for gracing the seminar. May I also formally welcome the international delegates, speakers, and moderators who are joining us today. Thank you so much. Special gratitude to participants who are joining us physically despite the challenges associated with COVID-19. Ladies and gentlemen, in the forenoon, we had an engaging and enriching set of deliberations during the IOR conclave, where perspectives from policymakers from the Indian Ocean region littorals on the shared challenges and shared opportunities for defense cooperation were discussed. Having heard these the perspectives, I think it's rightly the turn of scholars and practitioners amongst us to put forth their views on some of the issues we face, on how we can surmount the challenges that collectively confront us in the Indian Ocean region. As is often said, and I quote, "No problem can withstand the assault of sustained thinking," unquote. And therefore time now is to turn to the thinkers amongst us. Ladies and gentlemen, as the Honorable Prime Minister of India had alluded, the fact remains that we in the Indian Ocean region not only enjoy shared geography, but also a shared destiny. And therefore the incentive to cooperate and to channelize the potential of this region into prosperity for each of our nations and the region at large. From the time the Honorable Prime Minister of India introduced the concept of Sagar, security and growth for all in the region, the Indian Navy has been working to fully actualize this vision in the maritime domain in a manner that is beneficial to one and all in the region. One such way we think is to harness the capabilities of each of the IOR littoral in the maritime domain. And therefore, we have chosen this topic that we deliberate today, and I think it will resonate and appeal to all of us as IOR littorals. And that is the idea of collective maritime competence with security and growth for all in the region. So I'll just make a small introduction to this topic by addressing three components: the what, the why, and how of the idea of collective maritime competence. So what really is collective maritime competence? And I would describe it as the ability to collectively promote maritime interests in the global commons by collaborating with like-minded nations to build capacities and deepen linkages. Collective maritime competence is a combination of three core ideas: collective, which alludes to a cooperative enterprise; maritime, which encompasses everything connected with and from the seas; and competence, which is a shared professional approach to harnessing the common opportunities and challenges encountered in the maritime domain. The why of collective maritime competence holds relevance for each of us. Let me offer three reasons. First of all, we know that the oceans unite, they do not divide. There are deep interlinkages in the maritime domain. And we have discussed in the morning that when we talk of threats, the drugs, piracy, IUU fishing, climate change, etc., these are all transnational in character. Similarly, when we talk of opportunities, connectivity, trade, resources, blue economy, maritime spatial planning, etc., there are interconnectivities in these elements. So countries in the IOR, therefore, have a core interest in collectively keeping the seas safe and secure to assure the progress and prosperity of our nation and their citizens. Also, the very expanse of the ocean spurs us on to collaborate. No one nation has the resources to address all the challenges and harness all the opportunities that the maritime domain offers. Thus, there is an intrinsic incentive to collaborate and cooperate. And most importantly, each one of us in the littoral brings certain unique capabilities to the table, whether it is resident expertise, experience, information, best practices, technology, geographical location, assets, etc. So we can pool and harness these to tackle challenges together, to make the whole greater than the sum of its parts. Just to cite a few examples in the Indian Ocean region, some nations amongst us have good expertise in construction of small size craft and FRP and GRP work. Some others have an experience in riverine operations with a vibrant watercraft building culture. Few others have made considerable strides in marine spatial planning to harness the full potential of the blue economy. So collective maritime competence will encourage us to nurture, harness and synergize these capabilities amongst us in the maritime domain to develop greater resilience and response capability. This is as far as why is concerned. And coming to the how of harnessing collective maritime competence, I think the deliberations this afternoon would shed further light on this. But to share a few thoughts, as a naval practitioner, some ways that I feel that navies could build collective competencies is first to engage frequently and exercise often, to become interoperable. So collective competence can only be put to use in crises if we are interoperable. Another area is information sharing and maritime domain awareness. Information can be pooled at very little cost. So domain awareness will help us, further help us shape the operational response. Also, when we engage and operate together, it helps build trust and friendships, binds us as a community. And we all recognize that trust cannot be surged. It needs patient, committed, long-term engagement, and therefore the value of even conferences such as this. So having addressed the what, why and how of collective maritime competence, I would like to conclude by saying that in many ways the future of the Indian Ocean region hinges on cooperative efforts of its littoral nations. Prosperity and security for all in the Indian Ocean region can only be accomplished if the nations set out to achieve it together. Therefore, the concept of security and growth for all in the region remains crucial, since it emphasizes an inclusive and engaged ecosystem for partnership in the maritime domain. And India's emphasis has been on partnering as equals to create an inclusive framework rather than a prohibitive, elitist one. And in this, the Indian Navy truly believes that each one amongst us in the IOR is an equal and critical partner in the business of keeping the seas safe and secure. Thank you very much. I wish this seminar enriching discussions.
Thank you, sir, for setting the stage so eloquently. May I request the Honorable Raksha Mantri of India, Shri Rajnath Singh, to kindly deliver the keynote address.
Defense Minister of Maldives, Excellency Usja Maria Didi, Honorable Defense Minister from our friendly foreign countries attending the seminar, and Chief of Defense Staff, General Bipin Rawat, Chief of Naval Staff, Admiral Karambir Singh, senior uninformed personnel from the armed forces of the region, respected delegates from across the region, illustrious personalities from the academia, members of the diplomatic corps, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start by expressing my compliments to Department of Defense for organizing this Indian Ocean Region theme-based seminar on building collective maritime competence towards security and growth for all in the region. Ladies and gentlemen, ancient Sanskrit script Ekayam Balam Samajasya Tadbhave Sa Durlabha means clearly enunciates that unity is strength of any society and a society is weak without it. I could not have agreed more with the theme of this seminar, which drives into building collective maritime competence. As the esteemed audience is aware, oceans cover about 70% of the Earth's surface, about 80% of world's population lives within 200 kilometers from the ocean, and about 90% of all international trade travels by sea. The Indian Ocean region forms an important part of the oceanic commons shared by the world. The region has for a large part of human history been central to the evolution of societies and has had an everlasting impact on the relations between the littoral nations. Friends, not only has it been the originator of ancient civilizations, it has also been the melting pot of different cultures of the world. India's outlook towards the Indian Ocean region is shaped by our civilizational ethos, which stresses upon the greater good of humanity at large. The ancient Indian concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam means the whole world is a family, is so deeply ingrained in our polity and people, both, that it is enshrined at the very entrance of our temple of democracy, the Indian Parliament. The Indian Ocean region has always enjoyed a place of prominence in global strategy. Many extra-regional powers, nations, have established a presence in the region to safeguard their strategic interests and assist Indian Ocean region littorals in overcoming challenges in the meantime in the maritime domain like piracy, maritime terrorism, human trafficking, illegal, underreported and unregulated fishing, loss of biodiversity, climate change, etc. Friends, 20% of the world's LNG, 80% of oil shipments, half of world's container traffic, and 1/3 of bulk cargo traffic transit through the region annually, not to mention this region being home to 1/3 of world's population. I therefore say with utmost earnestness that our region demands maritime governance of the highest order. Since energy and trade are in influencing geopolitical strategies, any disruption and consequent turbulence in smooth flow would have strategic security implications for all of us and the world at large. Ladies and gentlemen, the Indian Ocean region acts as a constant source of resources, particularly in the sectors of fisheries, aquaculture, ocean energy, seabed mining, and minerals. It provides tremendous economic opportunities to develop marine tourism and shipping activities. It is essential to tap the enormous potential of ocean-based blue economy to extend economic growth and prosperity for all countries in the region. Friends, in order to ensure shared growth and prosperity, it is imperative that we build competence in the maritime domain on a collective basis. India, due to its geo-strategic location in the Indian Ocean region, maritime character, historical and cultural ties with the littoral states, considers it important to keep the maritime neighborhood safe and secure through unity and togetherness. Against challenges originating from the maritime domain, we believe that in unity lies our strength. In recent years, India has taken a number of initiatives driven by the need for collective growth in the region, which has included our initiatives of Look East policy of the late 90s to the mere recent Act East policy and our maritime initiatives of security and growth for all in the region. All these initiatives have underscored the need for a collective approach to strengthen relations in Indian Ocean region in a mutually supportive and cooperative manner. During my visits and virtual interactions with colleagues from across the region, be it Mozambique, Singapore, Iran, it has been heartening to note that we all face shared concerns in maritime domain. These concerns necessitate that our response must be synchronized and coordinated to accomplish a common goal. I am proud to say that navies have been active in the military diplomacy in the IOR and beyond, as every naval officer or sailor is indeed an ambassador of his country. This is a badge of honor that men and women in whites wear, the pride and elan, and rubbing soldiers with the counterparts from other navies in the region. They forge not only professional bonds but also strengthen our historical and cultural linkages also. Friends, the four pillars of our naval foreign cooperation, which is capacity building, capacity enhancement, cooperative engagements, and collaborative efforts, have national significance and are set to transform India's reach and capabilities in the near and far regions. Under the aegis of Government of India's Vision Sagar and also in line with our commitment to build collective maritime competence, we endeavor to assist our maritime neighbors by providing assistance of every kind. It also gives me immense pleasure to state that Indian Navy has worked hard in the Indian Ocean region during natural disasters and COVID. Missions initiative executed by the Indian Navy was aimed at providing medical and humanitarian aid, food supplies to our maritime neighbors. Our Navy successfully evacuated about 4,000 Indian nationals from the region under Operation Samudra Setu, undertaken during the COVID-19 pandemic. These missions would not have been a success without the able assistance from our maritime neighbors. Friends, in the field of HADR, it is encouraging to note that the Navy's maritime agencies of the region have been interacting extensively with the IUNS working group and other constructs. Swift responses rendered in the aftermath of the cyclones in the Indian Ocean region as a sign of solidarity has been exemplary step to enhance collaborative effort. The prompt action taken along with our Sri Lankan partners to arrest fire on board motor tanker Diamond of Sri Lanka, assistance rendered in concert with our maritime partners in aftermath of the oil spill incident involving motor vessel Wakashio of Mauritius and search and rescue efforts undertaken of Indonesia to locate missing fishermen were indicative of collective readiness at all times to respond to the unforeseen. In the field of constructive engagement, it is heartening to share that the navies in the region are engaging through staff talks, bilateral and multilateral exercises, and the coordinated patrols. And I think these exercises, which are designed for mutual benefit and increasing interoperability, have been extremely beneficial in addressing issues of maritime terrorism, drug trafficking, gun running, etc. Towards maintaining a safe and secure maritime environment in the Indian Ocean region, the Navy's maritime agencies in the region are partnering to develop a comprehensive maritime domain awareness in the Indian Ocean region. I am glad to know that technical agreements are being signed for sharing of wide-sweeping information amongst friendly countries. Friends, I am convinced that given the support and trust that all navies in the region have built with each other, the future of our maritime neighborhood is bright, notwithstanding the many challenges that are present in the maritime domain. To conclude, I wish the deliberations during this seminar every success and hope that the ideas and thoughts exchanged here would help further the Honorable Prime Minister's vision of Sagar, security and growth for all in the region. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your words of guidance and for positing maritime aspects in the correct perspective, which will aid the seminar. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Raksha Mantri has a prior commitment and will be leaving us now.
Good evening. We witnessed the press conference held by Honorable Raksha Mantri Shri Rajnath Singh Ji. This brings us to the close of Day 2 Aero India 2021. The flying display also has been concluded at Yelahanka Air Base. Tonight at 9:30, we will bring you a beautiful and very detailed report of the goings-on on Day 2. Tomorrow, we will be again on here with you. Please stay with us. Please join us tomorrow in the morning and tonight at 9:30 for the report. Till then, take care. See you again.